What you're about to see is one of the most jaw-dropping examples of authority clashing with actual law. A man offers legal tender to pay for fuel, stays at the scene, and calmly explains his position. Yet somehow, this turns into threats of arrest, accusations of criminal intent, and a total breakdown in legal understanding. This isn't about refusing to pay. This is about whether police can override statute law based on what a cashier prefers. Watch closely, because every sentence said here matters, and by the end, one side walks away 5,000 pounds richer.
What's going to happen? Okay, so you've done your bit checking on legislation. I've just checked on my legislation. As I said to you, the shop does not have to accept it just because it is legal tender. You said it's legal tender. You are correct. However, it is a commemorative coin. On the internet, they're worth about 20 quid.
Well,
right. So here is what is going to happen. Either you are going to pay for your fuel correctly, or you are going to fill out their civil recovery form so that you can arrange to make payment at a later date, or I'm going to arrest you for bilking.
What's bilking?
Bilking, making off without payment. You've got to the point where payment is due. Mm-hmm. You're now refusing to make payment. Therefore, I will treat it as a criminal offence. So how would you wish to proceed at this point?
Well, I have got means to pay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not going to fill out a civil recovery form as you put it. Okay,
right. So what's the means that you're going to pay?
What's the option 2?
So option 1 is either you pay. Option 2 is you fill out the form. Option 3 is that you get arrested.
Well, pay.
No, you pay with legal tender that they will accept.
That is legal tender.
No, they don't have,
But if this is a £50 note and he said, oh, look, we don't accept £50 notes because there's lots of forgeries.
Exactly.
Would you be doing exactly the same thing now?
Yes. So if you go into a corner shop and try and pay for a penny chew with a £50 note, they are perfectly within their rights to refuse.
Here's where the sergeant's argument immediately starts to crumble. The offense of making off without payment under the Theft Act requires 2 things: leaving the premises and intent to permanently avoid payment. Neither exists here. The auditor is still present, sitting in his car, speaking directly with police, and repeatedly offering payment. There's no escape, no deception, no dash for the exit. Turning a civil disagreement into a criminal accusation doesn't magically create intent. This is a textbook example of how misunderstanding basic legal thresholds can escalate a non-issue into a full-blown rights violation.
No, it's not different.
No,
you have offered a form of payment that they will not accept. The principle is exactly the same.
Well, if you arrest me, it'll be a wrongful arrest.
Yeah. It's not. It's a lawful arrest because I've explained the situation and I've explained that I believe you're doing this for
a sergeant or an officer?
I am a sergeant.
Right.
Okay. So my point is also that coin is not worth the face value of it. It's not legal tender in such a way that this shop has to accept it as being valued at £100.
Okay, so it has. Hang on.
Short of the mark.
No, I'm not. So it is got a face value of £100. So it is worth £100.
It's not.
Well, you say that, but the Bank of England, the House of Commons, the state, all the institutions that came before you say it is. Right, but you say it isn't, right? Now you say it's only worth whatever you say it was. Interesting, I don't know if you've looked at the price of silver, but that's probably worth about £48 in silver. So hang on, I haven't finished yet. So that's £48 in silver.
Yeah.
Whereas, how much is a £20 note or a £50 note worth in plastic?
This moment is critical. The sergeant dismisses the £100 Royal Mint coin as commemorative, as if that somehow strips it of legal status. That's simply incorrect. If a coin is issued by the Royal Mint with an assigned face value, it is legal tender, full stop. Its metal content, collector value, or circulation frequency is legally irrelevant. Law doesn't operate on opinions or comfort levels. Once a debt exists, offering legal tender discharges that debt. Denying this reveals a dangerous misunderstanding of how currency law actually works in the UK.
Check to make sure it's not an unlawful arrest.
Another unit, please. This chap's about to get arrested.
Well, it'd be unlawful arrest.
It's not a wrongful arrest.
It would be a wrongful arrest. Well, how can you arrest somebody for refusing to pay when they're offering to pay with a coin of the realm?
Because you're not offering to pay with payment that they can accept or will accept or have to accept. No.
Now, interestingly, you said that you've done some research on this and I've done this before.
Yeah.
Well, what was the outcome of it last time?
It was no further action.
Why was that then?
I don't know.
Well, how come you've got a record of that?
I'm about to let you drive off from here.
Well, how come you got a record that I did it last time, but you haven't got a record of the outcome?
Why? Because I haven't got time to look at that right now.
But you have got time to arrest me and deal with all the paperwork that'll be involved in that.
Yep.
So that's just abusing your power, I think, because what you're trying to do
is using your power proportionally. These people here are trying to run a business, and you are making life extremely difficult by being obstructive in how you're going.
Listen carefully to what's being admitted here. The sergeant acknowledges he's dealt with this before, yet can't explain the outcome. He claims he doesn't have time to check previous resolutions, but somehow has plenty of time to arrest, detain, and process someone. That contradiction speaks volumes. Policing isn't about convenience or ego. Arrest is supposed to be a last resort. When officers ignore prior outcomes and refuse to verify legal facts, enforcement stops being about law and starts being about control.
I'm here to enforce the law. I'm not here to decide. I just suspect that an offence has taken place. Okay? So I'm not convicting you, and you're refusing, to cooperate with me any further. You're refusing to resolve this situation by giving these people your details. So therefore,
because what you're trying to encourage me to do is not to give them my details, but to fill out a legally binding form. You're actually encouraging me to fill out a legally binding form, right? That would be detrimental to me.
Why? Because you have to pay for your fuel just like everybody else in this petrol station.
No, because you're forcing me not to use cash. It's exactly the same as you.
No, I'm forcing you to provide the legal tender that this business is willing to accept.
But it's not for them to pick and choose.
It is. Absolutely.
No, it's not.
If they will only accept payment in Pokemon cards, that is entirely up to them.
Yeah, but they need to state that on the pump. Right, when I take the fuel, they say payment only in Pokemon. I'm not trying to. What do you think? What do you think I'm trying to achieve then out of this?
So why are you not willing to offer any other sort of payment? Do you have bank cards on you?
Maybe it's a matter of principle. This is a coin of the realm. You shouldn't be threatening to arrest me because of their preference as to what type of note or coin note. To say what type of coin that Tesco accepts or not.
It's my job to make sure that you don't go past the point of payment without making payment.
I haven't driven off, have I? I've got every intention of paying with this coin.
No.
If I had no intention, if I was trying to do something dishonest, I'd driven off, wouldn't I? But the fact is, I waited here for you to come and I've discussed it with you. I've tried to explain it, being very civil. I haven't been rude, have I? In any way. I've got no disrespect for the police whatsoever.
No.
Might go downhill a bit if you arrest me unlawfully.
Okay.
I just think, please just check that it's a lawful arrest. I don't think it is.
I believe it is.
And the whole point of cash and legal tender is that you cannot be successfully prosecuted for non-payment if you've offered legal tender. So if I had Scottish notes, right, now they're not legal tender in the UK, they're not legal tender full stop, but Tesco's actually...
This is where the situation gets flipped upside down. The sergeant argues that Tesco can choose any form of payment they like, even Pokemon cards. But that completely misses the point. Retailers can set payment rules before goods are supplied. Once fuel is already in the tank, the transaction becomes a debt, not a choice. At that stage, legal tender must settle it. Allowing retailers to retroactively dictate acceptable payment opens a door to chaos, inconsistency, and abuse, especially when police back those preferences with arrest threats.
To take the fuel, and I've taken the fuel, and now I've got a debt, and I'm offering to pay the debt in legal tender. Now, in the store, it's different, because I haven't taken the food, have I? In fact, if I'd have eaten the food, I'd be obligated to pay for it, and then it'd be the same scenario, just the same as if you went into a restaurant and had a meal, and then you have to pay afterwards, and you offered to pay in that. Well, they can't lawfully have you prosecuted for failure to pay if you've offered a reasonable means of payment and they've refused to accept it.
Yeah, but you've refused to identify yourself to this person.
Well, I don't need to, do I?
I'm now starting to view your actions as being dishonest.
Well, how have I been dishonest?
I suspect an offence is going to
how have I been dishonest?
Because you're refusing to give your information to this gentleman so that...
But he's not entitled to my information, is he?
He is.
Okay, if I told you
because you have a debt to settle up with him. So to go to the restaurant scenario, if you ate your meal and then said, I've forgotten my wallet, I've got no means of paying.
Oh, no means of paying.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So at that point, you're not being dishonest. At the point that you refuse to identify yourself, or you put Mickey Mouse care of Disney World on a piece of paper and say, here's my details, you're then becoming dishonest.
What about if, we went to the restaurant, we had a meal, right, and then I pulled out a £50 note, and they said, look, we don't accept £50 notes.
Yeah.
They can't make a decision about refusing to accept the £50 notes when you owe them money. They can only refuse to go through with the transaction in the first place. It's only because you've had the goods and you owe a debt.
The restaurant analogy absolutely demolishes the sergeant's position. Before you eat, a restaurant can refuse service however it wants. After you've eaten, a debt exists, and refusing lawful payment doesn't erase that debt. The same applies to fuel. You can't dispense goods, then suddenly claim payment rules override statute law. Legal tender exists precisely to stop disputes like this. Once it's offered, prosecution for non-payment collapses. That's not clever wordplay. That's foundational contract and criminal law.
Coins are made by the Royal Mint.
Yeah, and they are legal tender.
And they are
No
legal
argument
tender.
there.
Yeah. So how can I be refusing to pay and being dishonest in any way when I'm offering to pay with a coin of the realm, a legal
Because
tender
you've
coin?
offered a form of payment that they are unable or unwilling to accept. Therefore, as I said, the onus is on you to find alternative means. You've failed to do that.
Okay.
And you are now proposing to leave here without actually giving any means of identification so they can arrange at a later date to make payment with you.
Okay.
So therefore, because of that, I suspect that you are about to commit an offence of making off without payment.
See, now I reckon that if you've offered to pay, and I've offered to pay lots of times, got it on video, and right, and they refuse to accept the payment, I can't see how that I've committed a crime, even if I don't pay.
To provide an alternative means of payment or come to an alternative agreement.
So what you're suggesting is that you're going to arrest me based on the opinion of a Tesco staff member.
No,
whereas another member of staff might
based
have...
on my suspicion.
Suspicion.
I'm sure with the amount of time this gentleman has spent here, and the fact that other colleagues are aware of the fact that we have been here for half an hour.
Nah, 16 minutes.
I'm sure if he were able to take that coin, he would have done it by now, because he's got plenty of other things to do. You are costing them money by the fact that your car's sat here taking out these 2 lanes.
I've offered to move it, but he said no.
If they could,
I offered to move it, but he said no.
But if they were willing to take this at any point, they would have done by now.
Now, don't you think, Ben, right, that the country's biggest retailer would have a simple, basic understanding of coins of the realm and the legal tender situation and what they can do and what they can't do?
Well, they clearly do by the fact that they are not obliged to take it just because it's legal tender.
Because he said so. But how do you know he's right? And how do you know that what he's saying is the opinion of Tesco's as a company as a whole?
It's not that he's right, it's that the Bank of England is right, and it's the Bank of England that states that the shopkeepers are not legally obliged to accept any royal tender.
Right, okay, I understand where you're coming from with that, but that's referring to buying something from a store, not to paying a debt.
Okay, it's still the same,
It's not.
same situation.
No,
Okay,
it's not.
that's fine.
It's actually on the Bank of England website what legal tender is.
Yeah, it is. As I said, I have no argument with you.
Quoting the Bank of England without context is a classic mistake. Yes, shops aren't required to accept every form of legal tender at the point of sale, but this is no longer a sale, it's debt settlement. That distinction matters legally. Fuel isn't like picking something off a shelf. Once it's dispensed, the law shifts. Ignoring that difference turns accurate information into misleading enforcement. This wasn't a gray area. The auditor correctly identified the legal boundary, and the officers stepped right over it.
On suspicion of making off without payment, you do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you do not mention when questioned something on which you later rely on in court. Anything you do say may be given in evidence. Do you understand?
Yep.
Okay, so my intention at this time is to take you to Exeter Police Station, where you will put into custody. The reason for that is for the prompt and effective investigation of the offence, and to confirm your identity and your name and address.
Well, it'll be unlawful arrest, won't it?
No, not at all.
Right, where do you want me to park
I
my
have
car
the
then?
suspicion that you're about to commit an offence.
Well, what offence am I committing?
I've told you, I think you're about to make off without payment, and if I don't arrest you, then you will make off without payment. So there's my grounds.
Well, I'm offering to make
Can you come
payment.
out of the car, please,
Yeah,
sir?
sure, no.
Okay.
So no use to use violence, is there?
No, well, step out of the car,
let me
please.
just get my affairs together, all right?
Okay. Do you want to provide your details, or are you going to go to custody?
Well, I'll find my details for you.
Yeah, but do you want us to provide them to this man here?
No, but you want me to fill out a legal document?
Yeah.
No, I'm not filling out a legal
Okay,
document.
out of the car then, please, sir.
The sergeant's justification for this arrest is downright absurd. He openly admits the auditor hasn't committed an offense, only that he might in the future. That's not policing. That's pure fiction. And when the update dropped, it made everything crystal clear. After the arrest, the auditor was dragged into custody, interrogated, and treated like a criminal. All over a payment dispute Tesco themselves caused. But instead of caving to intimidation,
In the end, the outcome says everything. The auditor was arrested for an offense he hadn't committed, detained over a lawful payment dispute, and forced to fight back. And when the dust settled, the truth prevailed, a £5,000 settlement followed. Authorities don't pay out like that unless they know they've crossed a line. This case is a powerful reminder that knowledge of the law beats authority every time. If you found this breakdown as shocking as we did, hit that like button. Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more real-world legal accountability.